Oh, hello, everyone. Thank you for being here whenever you join. I'm Alex, and we'll have a practice together of arriving, centering, moving, inquiring, being with ourselves in stillness, sensing presence. If you're here, likely that you have some feeling of value around these things. So, just a couple ambiance notes. I think that I try to bring some flowers in the summer, especially some sunflowers, and I don't know how to pronounce these. I think they're so lovely. I bought them. Thought they'd be fun to draw or photograph, try to draw. Erytha something. Those prickly, they look like thistles of some sort. They're so lovely, but it's hard to see them over back here. And like this actually is like a metaphor for the practice. Sometimes we need to change the aperture, whether we zoom in or zoom out on the lens of our attention. Um, so again, hello there. Thank you for being here. Recent people who've tried this class has been Joanna and Hannah and Katie. Welcome. I'd love to hear comments back, either in the notes below, in the chat, as Steve has just entered. Thank you for letting me know you're here. Lovely to be together again. Nina, I've been thinking of you. We haven't seen each other in a long time. So many people to keep up with. um, and Kathryn, Lana, sometimes Jackie and Virginia and or Join, Gail. Anyhow, all welcome and thank you for being here and for cultivating this practice for yourself. And there's a cumulative effect, I believe, for all of us together and out there in the world. Ah, the thumbnail I put on the for this episode is a screenshot of my bracelets. Um, I just made a new one. Let's see, I made a new one with my niece. So all of these have been given to me as gifts, sometimes for some symbolic thing, and so they're sort of special. And the thought there is similar to what I put on last week's thumbnail about how when we start to recognize we're actually sharing breath with everyone else on the planet. Similarly, these bracelets sort of remind me of my connectedness to dear friends, to my community. So let's arrive. I'm going to invite you to arrive in the way that one of my teachers, one of my favorite teachers, Sharon Landreth of Colorado, Restone, Colorado, often starts. She says, maybe starts the retreats I've attended with her. She says to ponder, what brought you here? What brought you here? I think it's an interesting question, as there are some very specific, I mean, there can just be so many things to reflect on about that. Our feet, our legs brought us here, our whole life before us, and all the influences, our family, our parents, our friends, our teachers, our experiences, our genetics. As I begin to talk, you can start to be moving toward stillness, that phrase that our dear teacher Eric Schiffman named his book that way. Yoga, the spirit and practice of moving into stillness. And at the same time, I'll invite you to find comfort in the position you're choosing, the asana, as the yogis say, whether it's a seated position, sitting on a chair, whether it's standing, And I have a little confession when I tune in to Jackie's class on Friday mornings. Her class, her meditation, her half-hour meditation occurs at my dog walking time. So it's a Zoom class, so I see everybody in their squares, and I there's a function on the phone where I can mute myself, take myself off video, and just have an auditory part. So my phone's in my pocket, and I'm walking my dog, moving as the meditation is happening. I'm sometimes talking with other neighbors or dog owners, sometimes talking to my dog, handing out treats. So arriving and what brought you here? Another aspect of what brought you here could be a big one is what's the purpose or goal for this practice for you? And this is one of those inquiries, one of these, what I'll call a little bit of a koans that I'm still working on myself. Another teacher who Jackie and I attended his retreats, Adyashanti, he's an American, Stephen Gray was his given name. And he also would start retreats with a little differently phrased invitation to the same ends. He would ask us to say, why are you here? To check in with ourselves. That's not the koan part for me. And as I'm sharing this, I realize there's work for me on this koan still. And he would say, "You're here, you've given up a lot to be here. You've paid for this time, you've arranged for care for your kids or your house, you've taken time off from work. You've arranged all that, sacrificed all that to come for 5, 6, 7 days retreat." And he says, this is the koan part for me, that it's important to recognize why that is, what it is, maybe not so much why, but what it is that brought you here, that you're looking for. And that's very linked to what's your intent, your intention, your purpose, your goal. And very possibly we do some of this automatically. We're doing it, but we may not be conscious of it. So we go after something and we may have clear motivations, may have mixed motivations, may have unconscious motivations. And so I open it to you to also ponder the koan part. For me, I feel like I am like, why is that important to know? And I'm a typical rebellious, not rebellious, but questioning student. I like to think of it as in the positive light, as all the teachers I've really liked and respected, and especially in the yoga lineage, and I believe in the Buddhist one as well, we are encouraged to not just take it on faith, the verbal teaching or the one we've read in a text, but to try it out for ourselves. Now, there's a continuum where just that lack of trust becomes difficult, and I know that in my own personality, but this getting clear on finding out. So I'm setting this as a sort of challenge for myself. Maybe you'll join me of what is important to me, what brings me to this practice, like really what's the driving motivation. And I think when I get clearer on that, or even clear, the why may be apparent. And I'm sort of feeling, I wonder if you share this, I'm feeling that there's value in this, but I'm not sure how. And it's a little something I believe I've been avoiding. Anyhow, that's a little not quite where I meant to go today, as often happens. So arrived, as I've talked, maybe you've felt the feel of your body, as I've kind of had us in our head, but I believe with the energy of my being, the tone of my voice, I'm hoping that I've also conveyed that we ask these questions with all of ourself, with our heart, our cells, our various cells that make up this miraculous body. And so you may just feel the ground a little bit more underneath you. Feel the verticality if you're sitting upright. If you're lying down, that's going to be different. If you're standing or moving, that will be feel yet another way. Come to feel your breath to incorporate that vehicle for the life force that's so intimate to our being, to our survival. I'm going to invite you as we sweep into the moving part of this, our practice. And so I got clear myself, a little clearer myself, that I've got four parts to this practice really. This arrival and centering, this threshold that of coming right here to the present. That's one. A second is that I and present some kind of movement for us to experience, and you can modify that to make it useful for yourself. Sometimes very subtle, sometimes just with the breath. The third part is an inquiry where we become aware of this link between what's our experience is, any part of it, body, emotional, spiritual, mind, uh, psychological, um, and our mind, the link between our experience and our mind that gives words and meaning to our experience and really is part of what takes us forward and is linked to how we feel our own value, which can be prior to that, prior to the labels and ideas as well. And the fourth is the stillness, silence, where we really get to feel that prior presence, prior to everything else, always there. So I will invite you. Ideally, you would lie down. I'm not going to because I feel like I can just, my sound comes out better. If you like, you can do this from seated. If you're in a chair or couch, like sitting on a couch, that might be even preferable. So lying down, the best for this, but you can do other forms as well. And I'm going to have you squeeze, like just scrunch up your toes on one foot and relax. And just breathe easily. Scrunch up your toes and relax. And if you've changed position, I'm hoping you're taking a little bit of time to sort of let the new position, the feel of it, become conscious. And then squish up your whole leg. Just let the muscles of the same side leg, just that one leg, let the muscles squeeze to the bone. So contract in any way that feels accessible, and then let it go. Let it go fully. Take your time in the letting go. So my title today is opening to what? Opening to whatever is here. All right, let that go and just relax and notice the wholeness of yourself. Notice how maybe just those few simple movements have changed something. Notice what is here now. Open to what is here now. Perhaps there's a difference in the right and left side of the body feel. Perhaps there's not much change at all. Let yourself be this relaxed presence with a capital P that simply opens, welcomes in a way. I like the word opens. I just heard this in a podcast that I'll reference in a little bit again. So now let's take well, let's go to the buttock, same size. See if you can just clench that buttock on that side. And so you're feeling maybe the top of the leg get pulled, maybe even the waist area and connection to the rib gets pulled. So always as you're and the same as just the squeezing for a moment and relaxing it all, really sink into the relaxation. Don't skimp on that time. And any words, so I'm layering the movement part with this inquiry part. Any words that you find coming up, any little thoughts and assessments that you're making along as you're doing. It's just super valuable to be conscious of what thoughts are here. And now kind of squeeze, I'm working with my right side. Squeeze the side as if you're lifting your hip and to be closer to your ribs, sort of shorten the yeah, sort of what's that called? Hike your hip upward a little bit toward the shoulder and let it go. No, and remember, no skimping on the letting go part. And then, let's see, what should we do? Let's squeeze the shoulder kind of up to the ear, but also into the body a little. Squeeze the arm in. So this whole upper half of the torso kind of contracting. The neck contracts a little and let it go. And then squeeze just that side of your face. And contract one side of your face. Even imagine that the scalp on that side and the ear are contracting. Maybe you'll contract the neck a little. It's good to have a laugh. That's good medicine. All right, let it go. Let's pause for a moment and reflect now. Not reflect, but open. Open with all your senses to what your experience is now, even your hearing. After squeezing, releasing one side of the body, we have time. We'll go through the second side. We might go a little faster. Okay, so start with squeezing, like crunching the toes and flexing the foot, not so it cramps, careful. And so squeeze it on the other side now. So squeeze and release. And one more time, squeeze, release. And just the same time we're doing this, we're doing, undoing, we're just noticing. And perhaps your mind is just kind of open and there's not much chatter or reporting. That's fine too, of course. Now the whole legs, the calf, the thigh, let them squeeze and relax. Breathing. Perhaps the squeeze goes with the inhale, and then the relax with an exhale, or vice versa. Either is fine. And then let that go. It's funny, I did not notice so much of a difference of the two sides as we went through the first side, but I am feeling a sort of unification now. And I'm just saying that as to model what's happening in my mind or what could be happening in your mind. And then squeeze the buttock on that side, release. And if some of this is not easy to access, it's like, oh, I can't really do what she's asking me to do. Give it a try. Just trying starts to connect the intention and invitation from the brain nervous system to the nervous system that's in the body. Something is happening, and it will connect eventually. Yeah, I used to talk a lot about imagining. I'll have to go back to those practices. And now, sort of the whole side, as if you hike your hip, not the whole side, but hike the hip up toward the shoulder and let go. One more time. Pause. Remember the pauses, indulge in the pauses. And then the upper arm and shoulder goes to the ear a little, the upper arm presses in toward the ribs, kind of contract that upper half of the torso. About 2 times each here, and now which one was it? Oh, the face and head and neck on the left side. Contract them. It makes for a it's not a happy could it be a happy scrunch? It could be. Yeah, could be. What expression is there? It's so funny that making expressions gives us a sense of humor, of humorousness. Alright, a couple things we didn't do yet I'd like to do. Whole body, just whole body tenses up, contracts, contract, 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 and let it go. And that's a really lovely thing to do a few times. Maybe do it one more time here. And then we'll just do one more before we'll go into stillness. And that's just contract your hands, just your hands really tight, 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 fists, and then let them go. Fists contract, 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 and let them go. And then very slowly, whatever position you're in, might be a little, yeah, you could do this, whatever position is. Very slowly bring the hands. We're going to be bringing the palms toward each other. Let the hands stay a little bit for soft, curved fingers, kind of cupped. And as they come closer together, you may feel kind of a little resistance, like a magnetic field. You may or may not come once you get to a certain distance and you start to push in, you can feel resistance. Kind of a cool um, evidence of energy. And then I'll just take this right into a bow, which signifies the beginning of our meditation practice. And I will ring the bell, even though it doesn't come across so great. And so you may need to reposition yourself, have about a 7-minute stillness and silence practice. Find that association to gravity, and what I like to call levity. As you make any bits of adjustment that you need, then let yourself start to slide toward that stillness. Connect into your breathing. More and more now, just orienting toward this, the purpose of this practice, not the purpose, but the structures of stillness and silence. And you can decide the purpose. A balance of alertness and relaxation. So we're not checking out, we're just open. We're just here and open. Breath comes and goes, sounds come and go, as I think is attributed to the teacher Nisargadatta, an Indian name. Let what comes come, let what goes go, and see what remains. keeping it simple and being forgiving of yourself if you find yourself giving yourself a grade or a failing grade of this practice, and perhaps inquiring whether of the wisdom of that, that perhaps the very opposite could be celebrated, that the moment, at least for this, the practice, what we're here for is to learn more and more to be open to whatever comes, however difficult it is, however long it's been hidden, that we open. And so that moment when we catch ourselves having been off track is is a victory. It's like, ah, gotcha. Here we are. And so easily, right there, awareness is on again, is evident again. It's always there, but we're conscious of it again. Eyes soft. Eric Schiffman has a cue for meditation that he says, be still without holding yourself still. And I have also found that as a puzzling koan, but I had an insight now to where I would say, be open to stillness. That that works for me, and perhaps you'll find yours, where it's not something we make ourselves do, but it's just opening to the truth of what already is here. Just a few more breaths together in this stillness. Practice goes so quickly. Bringing hands together in front of the heart. Mark this threshold of coming to the end of our practice together. And perhaps will take the luxury of being in stillness or other practice more. But we have these thresholds to work into, to have our being and becoming always together. And I would just share one of the values for me of this practice, why I'm here, is to connect more with that being part of myself, that essence, and something in that, this stillness that works, that opens refines our capacity to remember that no matter what is happening. And there's so much that we become able to hold, maybe not in the same moment, but maybe successively. In one hand, something very beautiful, and in the other, something very painful. And life is just full of these. And I wanted to share, I'll put it in the notes, the link for this. I was very inspired and just um, fed by this podcast, usually a more politically commentary by Ezra Klein of the New York Times. He interviewed the author of a book he came across, and the book is called Lost and Found. It's by Kathryn Schulz. And her language, even in the interview process, is so beautiful. And he has her read pieces of the book. And it's like sort of like this practice. One thing is, I draw on the beauty of poetry that way, and the playfulness and power of that art. But flowers, visual art, jewelry, nature's beauty, all of this somehow is not only part of that joyful part in the yin yang setup, but it sort of opens us more to the wholeness of things. There's something about difficult things and a very linked to our survival that closes us down, that causes contraction and narrowing. And that's good and important. A lot of things wouldn't happen if we didn't have that capacity. So, but to pair it with the opposite, so yin and yang together, the power of it, the dynamism, the wholeness. And I don't know about you, but I need that. I need that to keep keep hope, keep joy, keep a healthy wholeness. So thank you for joining me in this. And it's the spirit of what we do at Sun and Moon Yoga Studio. So please uh, do check out our website, sunandmoonstudio.com, for all our offerings, virtual and in person. And you can contact me also by email, aLex at sunandmoonstudio.com. And have a little yeah, I'll be open to stillness. Yeah, just got downloaded today, so or maybe somebody else, surely somebody else has said it, but I like it too. Thanks, Steve. We can both work with that this week. Thank you, thank you. Take care, guys. Love you. Ciao, ciao. See you next time.